You're watching Grassroots Resistance Collective, Texas-grown, people-powered, and unapologetically bold. We expose corruption, amplify real candidates, and give voters the truth the system tries to bury. No spin, no sellouts, just resistance. Let's get to work.
And we just worked our butts off. And one of my community members was like, hey, I can take your campaign pictures for you. I watch America's Next Top Model all the time. And so she came and took pictures in my kitchen, and it was that kind of campaign, which was so freaking awesome. Those moments were so magical. And then, I won. They told me you're never going to win. You don't have the money your opponent has. She's never lost a race before. And all of that was absolutely true. She'd never lost a race. I raised like $1,000 my first reporting, and my opponent had like 800,000 or something, some ungodly amount, and I couldn't even fathom what that looks like. But I'm like, you can outraise a Mexican, but you can't outwork a Mexican. You can outmoney a Mexican, you can't outwork a Mexican. So this Mexican and her Mexican family went and worked our butts off, and so here I am in my fourth session.
That's amazing. Term. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Awesome story. So I have a question, since we are talking about our principles and what led us here. Let's talk about what made you decide to participate in the breaking of quorum.
Yes. It's bigger, the breaking of quorum, and I hope people understand that the redistricting is bigger than Texas. It's bigger than what's happening right now in this moment in time. It is really our country and the future of our country. And so when you look at the way the structure is and the system, and that if we allow politicians to, every couple of years, they don't like their voters, to redraw the lines, to pick their voters, this is no longer a democracy. This is straight authoritarianism. But when you look at also, when you look at that and think, okay, now if I don't like my voters in 2 years, we can draw the lines and keep drawing them every 2 years. We won't preserve any institution that we have. But when you look at also the horrible bill and what it's going to do to working families across America, that is terrifying, and there will be no safeguards. We right now don't have the checks and balances that we've always relied on, that we learned in third grade. The government, there's checks and balances. It's important, and that's what keeps things operating in a fair way. For me, when I started reading more about the bill and learning, for example, my daughter had a life-saving organ transplant less than a year ago, and we got it through, and we have her insurance through Obamacare. And when I received a notice that her insurance, the premiums were going to raise, I'm sorry?
Tovar, check your messages. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, when the premiums, through these bill where we're drawing the support for not only Affordable Care Act, but Medicaid and all of that, like, it's going to be a struggle on my working family. I can't imagine the impact on other families. And so just participating in the quorum break was so much bigger, and it is so much bigger in protecting our democracy. And that sounds kind of pie in the sky, but working families are hurting, and this quorum break was meant to help bring attention to why we all need to participate and pay attention. And fortunately, people are talking about redistricting and what it really means.
Yeah, and they're definitely talking about it. So how do you think universal suffrage plays into the situation, just getting people engaged and understanding the impact of how redrawing maps in Texas is going to have a domino effect all over the country? How does universal suffrage play into all of that?
Yeah, and so one of you all mentioned it earlier. I don't care who you vote for as long as you vote. I think that's such a key treasure for our country, right?
Yeah.
The vote is a treasure to be preserved, to be respected, to be honored. The vote is not a weapon, or a tool that needs to be weaponized, right? So when you look at it as a treasure, something that we should all preserve, that we should all honor, and that we should all participate in this system, it's going to make our country better. And when we did redistricting, so typically you do redistricting every 10 years after the census. I was in session and I had already been elected twice when they did the redistricting, and they came and it was, our party and negotiating and collaborating with the other party, trying to create my district, the district that I represent was 51% Republican, 49% Democrat. It wasn't a Democrat district. So when redistricting came back in 2021, they said, we want to draw your district more Democrat. And I fought that. I'm like, no, it makes me a better politician. It makes our country better and our state better when I have to go fight for those Republican votes, when we have to meet in the middle, when we have to have these conversations and really have think critically on the issues, that the values that align us together, right? And so by then stacking the cards for one side or the other, that does not make us a better country. So universal suffrage to me means if we're all at the table and all having these conversations, and whether you make $100,000 a year or $1,000 a year, our voice is all the same and leveled up. We can level up our country, our state, our quality of life for everybody. And so I just think it's important. It doesn't matter. And as when I taught government, I would tell my students, guys, you don't have to know everybody on the ballot. You don't have to know everybody's platform. Just go in there, practice. And if you screw it up, the good thing is you have the next 2 years, you can vote for somebody else, but you start getting engaged and you're like, wait, did I vote for that person? I don't like what they stand for now. Vote for somebody else next time. And I'm like, young kids, I'm like, just like you research every application or everything that your iPhone does, use that same energy and commitment for researching different candidates. But if you don't know everybody, don't worry. Not everyone knows everybody, but be part of the process, because then you feel more empowered to speak up and make the changes that you want. So universal suffrage for me means it's a better world for everybody if we're all sitting at the table and participating in this conversation.
So just to be clear, everybody, universal suffrage is just the ability for every citizen to vote, regardless of your background, your criminal history, your financial background, whatever the case may be, everybody gets a say so.
Yes.
And to me, what you're saying is the difference between a politician and a public servant. And we need all the public servants we can get.
That's exactly right. And more people who are part of the process makes the process and the system a better system.
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing that we try to do here on Grassroots Resistance is, because we all come from different party beliefs, and so one of the things that we really try to do is cut through the culture war between the different parties and the different belief systems to find the middle ground of what actually is affecting Texans themselves, instead of it being like a left or right issue, more of it being a right or wrong issue, and more based off of your actual values as a person. How do you think that we could do that better?
Well, I think that what you're doing now is huge, and having those conversations based on values more than issues. And I think that is where, as I mentioned to you all earlier, when I am on the House floor and it's interesting when you strip away all the social stuff and you stick to the values and what really matters to working families. And as the chair of the Texas Legislative Progressive Caucus, we are fighting for working families. It is a better Texas for everybody. It doesn't matter what party you're in. If you're a working family, if you're making 40, 50,000, how can we make sure that your children are protected and have health insurance? Make sure that you're not freaking out when you go to the grocery store, that you can afford the eggs and the extra box of cereal that your kids want. Like, don't focus on that other nonsense that meant there to muddle the water and to separate and divide. Because when we're separated and divided, everybody suffers. But when we're united and we're talking about values, what's important to my family is important to all of your families. And what is so beautiful, as and I don't, when I'm on the House floor and I'm talking to these, what you would call the MAGA Republicans, who all, whatever. But when we sit there and we're like, hey, what they just did there is wrong on principle or on value, or they weren't being truthful and honest with that. Like, we aligned so much in those spaces that we're able to really really move forward and peel past all of that other stuff, the red meat that both parties want many times, right? And just stick to working families. Like, that's how you cut through it, talking about those values. We all have those values and not being distracted. And one time there was a debate that I had with Tony Tinderholt, who people know is one of the more right-wing guys. And we argued, like, there was an amendment and he and I are arguing. He's like, but you mean this? And I don't even remember what it was, but I'm like, I'm not going to talk about your red meat issues. I know you want this for your people, but no, we're going to stay focused on what this means for working families or whatever the heck. So we're arguing, and his wife tells him, he comes to me later and he's like, my wife is like, I thought she was your friend. Like, why are y'all arguing? And he's like, oh, honey, we're both passionate about our issues and our values. But then he comes back around and he's like, hey, you want more transparency with the TEA and why they hired so many people? And I'm like, yes, we need to know and all of this stuff. And he's like, I agree with you 100%. We mean more accountability and transparency. I support your amendment and I hope it passes, And so whereas 2 seconds earlier, we were arguing about the social stuff or whatever he wanted to throw in there. But then we were able to pass this amendment or what have you with this more transparency and accountability. So our values aligned in that we want people to know what they're working with. We want the accountability and transparency of the government. And we were able to get across the finish line with that. And so I think that's where the strength lies in when people step back and think critically. That does require people to think critically, think beyond the red meat and all of these distractions that they're showing you about bathroom bills and all of this nonsense. Think back, what does it mean to my working family, to my family values? And not even, but what does it mean? How's this going to impact my working family? Because the more we're fighting on that stuff, the less money comes in our pockets, the less food on our table, the less quality healthcare we have because we're so distracted. This Texas legislature focuses so much and wastes so much time on these red meat issues that our families, they ignore the fact that our families are hurting. Our families can't afford health care. Our families can't afford to go to the doctor. Our property taxes are raised. Our children are scared to go to the school. We can't go to church without thinking somebody's going to shoot us, or to the movies. Like, that's not okay. So why are we focusing, 2 months on this BS nonsense when we need to focus on what's going to make my family better and your family better and our children's lives better,
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you guys for being part of that conversation.
Yeah, of course. We're so excited to hear somebody who sits in one of those seats at that Capitol building mirror things back to us that we have been screaming into our phones for months. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, if we could only hear it from a GOP.
I know. At least out loud, because apparently Ana-María is confirming they're saying it behind the scenes. Say it out loud, friends.
Yeah, they are. That's true.
The bottom line is we want representatives that represent us and don't represent the billionaire oligarchs that donated to their campaigns. We don't want Abbott or Patrick or anybody else putting their words in their mouths. We want our words in their mouths. And that's, really bottom line, it doesn't matter if you're right or left in my eyes. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It matters to me that you're listening to me and listening to the issues that when I'm calling you, 100 times in a session or 186 times, I don't know how long the session is or how many days it is, but if I'm calling you every single day and sending you an email every single day as one of your constituents, I just want you to listen to me. I just want you to pay attention to me. I don't want you to push me off to one of your, that works for you and never give me a call back and then go completely against what I asked you for. You know what I mean? I know that there are not as many people in my specific county that are calling my House rep every single solitary day. I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you still voted against me over against the things that impacted my business, impacted my family's lives. Without even not one time did you attempt to contact me back.
Yeah.
You didn't send me an email. You didn't send me a letter. Even if it was a generic one, you didn't send that. You completely ignored me. And I think that's really what a lot of people are fed up with. A lot of people have been told their whole entire lives that, your vote doesn't matter because we've taught you that your vote doesn't matter.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We've taught you, and that's propaganda. Don't believe that.
Yes.
Don't believe
Yes.
it. It's
If
Yes.
our
propaganda.
votes didn't count, they wouldn't be trying so hard to prevent us from casting them.
Voting. Right.
Yes, exactly right. And Chastity, that's a good point, because that's exactly why one of the main factors that I'm like, I got to run against this woman, my representative at that time, my state representative, because I want you to be honest with me. If I call you every day, like you're saying, and I'm telling you, I'm advocating for something, and you as my representative don't support that, then be honest with me as well and say, go to hell with affordable health care. I don't support affordable health care. I'm going to support the corporation. Like, be honest with me. Don't lie, and don't wait till some poll comes out. Tell me what you stand for, so I know, do I stand with you or not?
Exactly.
And when I ran, my representative, we call her office every day, and, well, we're waiting to hear from the voters. We're waiting to hear from the voters. No, you're not, because you never called me. I'm calling you every day. And so
I'm a voter.
I'm a voter, and you didn't ask me. I'm calling you. And I remember in that we would call Van Taylor. He was our senator, my senator at that time, my state senator. And he sent me a letter saying, Obamacare sucks. We need to get rid of it. Basically, you suck too, all of this, And I had such a great appreciation for that, because I'm like, he's honest. I'm going to fight like hell to get rid of him. But the fact that he was honest showed me that he had more character than my representative at that time, who just lied the whole way through and never stood for anything. And to stand for something, whether I agree with you or not, takes courage. I appreciate that person with courage more than I do the coward who is waiting to be told what to think. Tell me what you think, and then we'll decide. Gives me the opportunity to decide which way we're going to go. Don't lie to me. Don't be a liar. And courage takes a lot for people these days to have courage.
Speaking of character, I've noticed that a lot of people, at least with me, when I go to Austin and I talk to these people, they don't even seem like real people, like, at all. They're just so fake, and you can tell. And I think like the public perception is kind of changing now on how these people operate, who are, in these hallways, because you could see it. It's like, I could tell you are a real person. A lot of other people that I've seen there are fake. And then what I think is good as far as like building up character is how you and a couple of other reps have been able to get on social media and really just use that, and just take that and just every day post something. And that's, I think that's an awesome, that is awesome how you guys are doing it. And it's not like how I guess the right wing was doing it, is they were just waiting for a podcast. Y'all are here doing it every day, unfiltered, straight up unfiltered, no production. And I think people agree with that, and I think they align with that.
Yes, thank you. And it's true, and it's lonely in that universe, because I don't know if you guys know, but I ran for Speaker of the House.
Yes.
And what that means is Speaker is the leader, the third most powerful person in the state. I didn't run because I thought I would win. I ran because we need to be a part. And I am a Democrat, and I feel that for politics to be a better space, we need opposition. We need views of opposition. We need critical thinking. We need dissent. We need discussion, and not just rubber stamp everything that everybody says we need to do. And so what was most alarming, I guess, and telling is that as the only Democrat running for Speaker of the House, there was 2 Republicans, the only Democrat. And I knew that I didn't have the votes, but you're going to respect me because I'm an opposition person, and we're going to have you're going to not ignore me, right? But what was so sad is the majority of the Democratic Party voted for the Republican boroughs over their own person. So we have 62 Democrats, only 23 voted for me. The rest of the Democrats voted for the Republican. They didn't even have the courage to vote for the only person in the race in their party. So talk about fake. They didn't have the courage to say, you know what, we know she's going to lose. Let me vote for her at least. And then, you know, they didn't even, and after the election, I can't tell you how many Republicans came to my office, how many of my Republican colleagues said, thank you for at least having a backbone to stand up and fight against us. Like, it's when you guys just buckle to everything we say and do, like, that's not a good country. That is not a democracy. And thank you for trying to, you know, trying to be part of the conversation and fighting back. And I heard that more from Republicans than I did Democrats. And so my point is that we need to elect people who have the courage to fight back and to have the voice and say, I stand for something, whether I get the blessing from the leadership or not. You're going to listen to what my people sent me here for, and that's to fight for our values and not just to be a rubber stamp for, you know, a pat on the head from leadership. It's nonsense.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's something to say about this new, I guess you want to call it a new Democratic Party, because this isn't like the Democratic Party that I've seen in the years past. This is
progressives.
Yeah, sure. But still, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, you guys are fighting. You guys are actually fighting back and not doing, and not just standing idly by and just letting whatever happen and go through. You're actually showing resistance now.
Yes. Well, and you said the minority party, whatever, and that. Look, I'm from the barrio. I'm from the hood. Like, there was bullies in the hallway and everywhere. Either you fought back or they're going to kick your ass and just spit on you and do whatever just because they could. So I always learn, I'm going to fight back and I'm going to, you know, do whatever. They won't mess with me just to freaking mess with me. You know, they're going to have to go to the weak person because I'm not that weak. I'm going to be the one that they're like, I don't even want to bother with her. Let me just move on. And that is, I take that, but you're not just going to come and mess with me just because you think you can. Like, I am going to fight back. I am going to speak up. And the truth is, we act like a minority party when we need to act like an opposition party. We need to stop thinking we're the minority, which means we think small and we are small. We don't need to be small because we bring little to our communities when we are little, when we are small. So we must be an opposition party so that they know and they respect us. Nobody's going to respect you if you don't stand on your own 2 feet and stand for your own principles and values. They don't respect you. And that is what we got with the redistricting and all the other nonsense. They don't respect us. And we must demand to be respected. And part of that is being a party of opposition and not a small thinking minority party.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah.
Yes. Can I just say, you guys,
that's right.
Just so everybody knows, Ana-María is my local state rep. And if you ever wondered why I feel so optimistic about politics in Texas, it's because I was around when she won that first election against that representative who never lost. And my grandparents, who are Republican till the day one of them has passed away, did not vote for her. I did. And now we have a blue district. It can happen. And if you listen to what just came out of her mouth, it's the same things that my grandparents were telling me were so important to them my whole life. So just take the party affiliation away and listen to the issues. And that's what we need to be focused on.
Absolutely.
100%.
So,
all right, Ramos, I know you have a hard stop at 7. I don't know if we have one more question left or anything. What do you guys think?
Just one more. We wanted to ask you the question that our last candidate asked is, what is your favorite Texas roadside attraction? And then we would like for you to give us a question for our next interview.
Okay. So the answer to your question is, I like, when I drive to Austin, I really like, it's just kind of weird, but stopping at the rest stops. They are clean in Texas, which is new from when I was a kid, but I love to see just families. I love to see traveling families that are just on the road with their little campers or with their little kids and the full truck in the back. It reminds me when I was a kid and we'd go to Mexico and we'd fill up the truck in the back with clothes that we were taking to our family members in Mexico. And, you know, working class family, they're on the road. They're not in airplanes. And many times they are, but working class families are driving to wherever they need to be. And I just love going to those road stops and just looking at our families. There's so much beauty in that. And so that's the answer to that question. To ask the next representative, I would say, what would be your secret weapon as a leader? What's your secret weapon?
Ooh,
that would be a good one to ask. Yeah. So I think that's a good question. What is your secret weapon?
Okay, we want you to come back and talk to us again.
Yes, thank you. I would love to. Thank you,
and next
good
time,
luck, everybody.
I'm pretty sure they were working on the freaking power lines outside. That's why it was all choppy. But now we're good by the time we end.
Or we didn't pay our electricity bill, which I call hood trauma. I call hood trauma all the time because sometimes when our water's not working, I'm like, honey, did you pay the water bill? And he's like, honey, yes, they're working on the water lines outside. I'm like,
go
damn
check
hood
the other
trauma.
lights. Go check the other lights.
A hood kid without telling you a hood kid.
Yes. When your mom didn't pay the water bill and you knew you had to do without. So I'm glad, Toba, that you paid your electricity bill.
So definitely that I've never heard it as hood trauma, but that's exactly what it is.
It is hood trauma.
When we were kids, this is a really funny story, really fast. Whenever my kids were little, if our electricity got turned off, we would make a camp. We would like camp out in the living room with candles and stuff. And my kids never knew until they were like older adults that was because our electricity was turned off. They just thought that it was some fun thing that we did, and they loved it.
I love it. That's our job as parents. They can't know, but we're freaking the flip out.
Yeah,
for sure.
Good
Definitely
parenting, honey. That is hood trauma.
They didn't even know how many times we almost lost the house.
Yes, right? That's a whole other story.
Thank you so much for coming and talking
Thank you.
Conversation. And I do
thank you
again.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.